Okay, so what we're dealing with on these situations is, it's not unusual. Sometimes you get flat graining. It's called delamination because the wood grows and it has grain, and some of the grain you look at sideways, this is sideways, and some of the grain you look at flat, and especially near this knot here, it comes to a flat spot. So what you have to do is carve away the delamination. It starts flaking, and especially once water gets to it, it lifts it. So you got to carve away the area that's delaminating, dispose of the chips. Get out of here. There. Then we use our exterior mahogany filler. It accepts stain, but it's still waterproof. You put this on generously. Good. You let that dry and you sand it. All right, that's fine. More is better than less. And you look for places where it's actually good to let the water get to the floor first, because it shows you the places that want to delaminate. Here's another one. Caesar, watch out for the light, please. Thank you. Here's another place starting to delaminate. Now, there's no scenario where you want to really be running around on a wood deck anywhere, regardless of what's going on. I mean, the oil helps to make the deck safe against splinters and things, but I mean, it's wood. So, Caesar, you're in the light again. Thank you, buddy. Let me just get these. So it's a good thing that these happen, so that it shows you the areas that it's prone to. The oil will not lift these. Water does, though. Water reacts with wood and makes it curl and swell and opens up the grain. It does a lot of good things and some bad things. Some of the good things is it makes it porous again after you sanded it smooth, but it also fuzzes the grain and lifts these things. So what you do is you painstakingly search out these delaminations. You search out the delaminations. Carve them away, beveling the edge down into hardwood like I'm feeling now. And you fill it. And the water-based filler cures this for us. It soaks nicely into the wood. But yeah, you don't really want to run around on a deck barefooted. And if you do, well, just pick up your feet. But the oil also helps to make the splinters less dry and pointy. They're more, I don't know, hard to describe, but they're like oily and not so crispy and splintery to catch a foot. But as much as you can, I mean, coming in and out of the pool, you want to have flip-flops if you can, or if not, I mean, you can't convince kids not to run around the pool or to lift their feet, but you definitely want to be cognizant of a splinter. And even kids, once they catch their first splinter, they learn to respect them, and they learn the hard way to be wary of them. I don't want that situation for my customers, but it's a fact that wood has splinters, and I can't change that. And over time and age, especially as the deck dries out and the oil starts fading, the splinters can become more of a hazard. Okay, good. There. That's all down to fresh wood. All right, I'll use the leaf blower to clean the rest of that away. All right, great. Let's putty that one. Let's putty that one, and I'm going to seek and destroy every single delamination I can find. I did a long one over here. This one especially, you can see how the graining starts to go weird, and the boards where the graining is like this, see, this is the way the grain runs, like this. When the grain starts running like this and you have a board cut that way, it's called flat grain. That's when you get the most delamination. There was a monstrous splinter delaminating over here. I put glue on it. I put a piece of metal so it won't stick to it, and I put a piece of wood so it's nailed down securely. That'll stay there, and let it dry. Let's search. Okay, that's just a split in the board. That's totally normal, and it's not a delaminating concern. What else was an area of concern? Oh, this area under here, whereas you can see where each nail goes there, the nail is doing work. It goes into this riser 3.5 inches, and it's keeping this nosing from bending. Otherwise, way over here is where the next beam is, and then this would be floating nowhere. I would have two screw holes, one here and then one here, and then the whole nose would be resting unsupported. So this screw that's in here is a structural necessity, and if it's a cosmetic issue, I'll get a very small, I thought this molding might be good, but it's too thick. It's too thick, but I could get a flatter one and picture frame this to hide that if it's a concern. That's a non-issue for me. That's easy to fix. All right, help me find some more delaminating. But anyways, this filler dries fast, so you could touch up these delamination issues anytime. What are you just chasing the nail holes where the nail holes and knots? Okay. Some of these pegs, we had so much milling to do that we milled all the way through the 3/4 inch. We milled all the way through the 3/4 inch plug, 3/8 inch plug, and got down to the wood, but it was necessary to get these boards flat. The milling is awesome. Everything's totally flat and perfect. This thing looked like a can of Pringles. We have a few shiners. I'll pick up a shiners, or what you call these nail heads that get sanded and shiny. I'll pick up a permanent marker in the appropriate color and hit the shiners just for cosmetic reasons, but you can't set those any further or drive them any further because they're holding the right amount of meat now. So how they are is how they have to stay. Caesar, these are just natural wood grain holes. These are just natural wood grain holes. It's hit those because they're kind of ugly. And we got some of these toe nailing holes. And here's a missing one too. Here's a plug that got sanded off or got pulled out of its glue. So these are all super easy things to address. This is just detailing work. I don't see any delaminating over here. See some alligators and an anaconda. Nah, this is on its path to righteousness. Anyways, we're going to be putting the buffing machine on this to take off whatever fuzzing has happened from the water hitting it. We're going to pass our buffing machine over this as one final light sanding to smooth the wood. And with the buffing machine also, that grabs any splinters that are sticking up and brings them to our attention. It either sands them off or pulls them out, one or the other, and forces us to deal with them. So a couple other wormholes from when the tree was growing, but this is all normal stuff. All this vertical wood has been brushed with a coat of protectant oil and rubbed. Yeah, we're good. That's it. Gonna just let this dry thoroughly. Pass the buffing machine and put the coat of oil, and we're totally wrapped up here.